All right, good morning. As promised, I'm gonna be wiring up these outlets, and as I mentioned, I'm going to be installing a lighted cutoff switch that's going to kill everything that's 110 in the bedroom cabinet wall. Okay, and that's going to be located here. All right, and it's got a light on it. All right. Now, next to that is going to be a GFCI receptacle. Okay. And what that's going to do is protect all of these particular outlets in the bedroom wall. Gina likes to be warm, so I can envision a heated blanket being plugged in, whatever. So, you have some water in bed, whatever, you just want to make sure you're protected. I could have done this at the panel, but as I mentioned yesterday, I already had these. Okay. And then I'm going to be installing this, just a regular outlet that's got some USB charging ports in it. This device right here is 12 volt only. It's for a cigarette lighter type plug, and it's got a couple of charging points. We'll talk about that when I hook that up. I'll also be putting a switch over here. I just don't have one. I want a lighted switch, but we'll worry about that later. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is install my switch. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and peel all these wires back. And again, the power's off. Well, I can't say the power's off, but the breaker to this, which is what we did yesterday, is off. And so I'm not working with live shit here, so no big deal. No big deal. Okay. And if I was, we'd already know by now because my hair would be standing up more than it already is. So you gotta peel back your insulation, get your wires exposed, and also remember this is tied into the other side too, so that's why I've got this particular box has two wires in it, because we have to feed the other side. Okay. Next thing we got to do is go through and peel back our insulation. Give us a tip to work with. Boom, boom, boom. I assume you guys can see what I'm doing here. Periodically, I'm going to shut the video off and restart it because I'm not sure, but I think if I get a phone call, it kills the video. So let me do that now. Okay, I'm back now. Remember, your white wires are your neutral, your black wires are your hot. Okay, and these damn wires are sharp. Our last camping trip, we didn't have plugs back here that, we could plug our phones into and our iPads and stuff like that. And I mean, we had them up front, but you know, it's nice to, whatever, you know, have them. I may have to make some of these a little longer depending on what type of connection they are. There might be a push in. All right, so remember, shiny is neutral, brass is hot. So I mean, I don't know how else to say it. Okay, this right here, this is my hot wire. This is my wire that's coming in from the panel. That's going to be feeding all of this. Okay, and I didn't do a very good job peeling this one back. Let me trim that up a little bit. This is the yes, this is our hot wire. This one here is this is the Mac Daddy. Okay, so only thing I don't know is which way is up on this thing. I don't know if it I just, you know, when you put in a switch, boom, up is on. I mean, so there you have it. Okay, all right, so with these particular type of devices, they have it where you can just slip the blah, 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 what am I trying to say? Just slip them in and tighten it up. You don't have to do anything like that. Okay. All right. So first thing I'm gonna do in this particular box is I'm gonna connect these two white wires. All right. All right. So I think I left my pliers over there, so I'll just use these. Okay. I just want to twist those around a little bit. Okay. Put on your wire nut. And remember, we're going to be taping all these connections. Okay. So what we want is to the current's going to flow. Oh, I screwed up, didn't I? I sure did. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I didn't screw up. Okay. I need a pigtail. That's what I need. I'm still here. I'm just making a little pigtail because I got to come out of the GFCI with the wire. And this hot wire here is going to go over here. Okay. Let me go get I thought I had them here. Oh, there they are. Of course they're over there. Needed some more wire nuts, some bigger ones. Where'd I put my switch? Okay, here's my switch. side. Right there at the top. Okay. And now I got to make another pigtail for the power to continue on to the next route on its journey. All right. Oh, by the way, I mean, this is a pigtail. It's just a little piece of wire. All right, slip that fucker in there. And again, I'm gonna kill the video and start it back up. Because like I said, I think when somebody calls, if I'm in the middle of making a video, I'll tell you, the doggone thing, the doggone thing wants to, of course, I stuck that in the wrong one, because that's where it goes out. Hot wire goes in the top. And I'll tell you what that yellow thing is at the bottom there in a second. Let me just get this. Get this sucker over here. Would help if I was going in the right direction. Okay. Alright, so what I got here is, see my hot coming in. It's going through the switch. So as soon as I turn on the switch, then the power will continue on and it'll power up this thing right here. Alright. Now let's hook this sucker. I guess I didn't need the pigtail. No, this one. I thought I was putting it in the other box. No big deal. Alright, we'll use that on the other side though, maybe. Alright. So, and the other thing too is I usually hook up my grounds first, but for some strange reason I didn't do it making this video. And I'll tell you why I do that, because it helps hold the plugs in your hand a little better. Okay. So there you go. All right. So your power comes in, and as soon as you throw the switch, it's going to add power to this. All right. And now what we want to do is we want to send the power from here over to here. So remember, I was telling you about this little yellow sticker. What that's basically telling you is this is where you hook up additional outlets. Okay, I guess there's some internal mechanism that if it's not hooked up right, I tell you what, let me do my grounds first on this switch, which I should have done to begin with, but I didn't. All right, that's going to go in that direction. So what we need to do is just put a little loop on the end of it. Okay, very simple. Just put a little loop on it, and I'm gonna run it underneath, and then hook it on. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me move that up out of the way. All right. Let me loosen that a little bit. Where the hell is my thing right there? Just gonna open it up a little bit so my wire can slip down in there. Okay. All right. Once you've got it slipped in there, what you want to do is you want to just kind of crimp it. You want to close the loop. All right, just like that. So I don't know if you can see that or not. but it's looped around there, and then we'll just tighten it up. Okay, and we'll do the same thing for this one, but keep in mind this one has a slipping kind, and I need my other pigtail. Okay. Slide that fucker in there. Alright. Put another loop on this one. I don't know if you can hear that clicking or not, but that clicking is telling me back there that the batteries are at 100%. Okay. So, you know what I'm going to do? What am I going to do, Vince? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Must have a goo. Okay. Tell you what I'm going to do. I should have put a pigtail on that one, but I didn't. I'm going to slide another one on that one, and we should be good to go. Get that in there like that. Close the loop we did before. And, okay. All right, now I need another little pigtail. Okay. Pull that wire out of there. No, I don't need another pigtail. Okay. Let's loosen this one. All right. I could have wire tied these to some of the grounds to one another. Oh, I thought that had a 2 position, but it looks like it's only got 1 position. Let's see if they'll both go in. Nope, they won't. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make a pigtail, and I'll show you what that is for, what that does. If I can find my knife, here's my knife. And you always have little pieces of wire laying around. You don't have to go get, you know, the whole roll. So here's going to be my ground wire, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it in where I had the other one. Tighten that fucker down. Okay. And then I've got these you know, wire nuts, and basically what we're going to do here is we're just going to wire nut them all together. Okay. And first we're going to crump them all together like that. Get them nice and tight. So what we've done here is our main ground from our breaker panel comes in, goes to the switch, then it continues on to this plug, and then it's going to be continuing on to the other side. Okay, so down here, these come from the store or the factory or whatever. The bottom one's already tightened up, so we're going to just unloosen it. We're gonna slip our kind of gravity fed. So let's see here. Slide that in there. All right. Hold that sucker right there. And let's whip it into shape. showed you that wonderful wire nut, then I didn't put it on. I'm on the, I guess what would be the right side of the bed, so everything's kind of reversed for me, so it's a little crazy. Okay. And you just turn that sucker on until you feel it start to resist, which is what it's doing. Okay. All right. Let's go back on the other side. Slip our hot wire in. Okay, we're in this about 10 minutes. Let me start it over. I know I'm gonna get some good footage, and then somebody's gonna call, and then I'm gonna lose it all. So, all right. And we slide that sucker in there. Okay. All right. You may notice sometimes I use the screw gun, sometimes I use the screwdriver. It just depends on, you know, what the situation is. Okay. Give everything a nice turn, and okay, everything looks good. All right, now we got our neutral, we got all our power going, we got all our grounds going. Okay, now what we're gonna do now is we're gonna wrap these suckers with the black tape. Now, nowhere in the code does it say you have to do this. Nowhere that I'm aware of anyway in the code that says you have to do this, but the idea there is, remember, this is an RV and it's going to be bouncing down the road, and stuff will vibrate and could potentially come off, cause a ground, and we could end up with a fire. Okay, so we've got everything covered up, and move this one out of the way a little bit. Okay. Bad thing is these things get in the way when you're trying to tape. No big deal. All right, everybody's still in. Looks real good. Yeah, I don't know if you can see or not what I'm covering up, but you see the terminals right there. If one of them grounds should ever break off and touch that, well, it's just gonna not be good. Okay, so what this does, you're just basically covering them up. No big deal. Okay, no big deal. All right. Okay, so now my wire nut holding on my my ground wires. Remember, we're vibrating up and down the road. That wire nut could easily come off of there. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of tape and go around the wires, and then I'm going to grab the wire nut, so that in the event that it does decide it wants to come off, the tape will keep it in place. In other words, it could vibrate off of the wires as far as that, you know, is concerned, but it's not going to come flying off and therefore have those jagged wires bouncing around. Plus, I wire tied them all together, so they should be good to go. All right, this box, my friend, is all done. So what I like to do is, your wires are coming in this way, so I like to try and let them kind of naturally go, you know, where they're going to go, which is they want to go down. All right, so when we go down, then we're going to bend them up. Okay, we're going to bend them up. Like that. Okay, and then just got to kind of struggle with the whole thing, pushing them in. All right, I think we're good. I think we're going to be good. We're close enough with the switch, so let me go ahead and start the switch screw. Started a couple of turns. I'm not going all the way. I'm not going to drive it home yet. Okay, that's more or less just to hold that right in place. Okay, now my ground wire, I'm going to tuck that in there and push that back there. And now this switch here. GFCIs are, I mean, they're just about the size. They're about the size of the box. So once you push it in, get your screws lined up. Okay. Like I said, I'm just giving it a couple of turns just to hold it in place. Okay. Because then I'm going to go ahead and make any last adjustments that I can make. All right, that's good. And then this one here, I think I can straighten that one out a little bit more. All right. Drive them on home. Go. Believe it or not, they do have a center point, and if you try to get it right in the center, when you go to put your plate on, you're more than likely right where you want to be. When you put your plate on, you won't have to make too many adjustments, but if you start out in the middle, you should be good to go. Okay. All right. Good to go. All right. All right, now, I know because I know. Oh, we're up to about 8 minutes. Let me start it again. Okay. This is my jumper wire that's coming from the other box, coming from the GFCI outlet. Remember the two on the bottom. So it's going to come in and it's going to feed this outlet. And then we're going to leave this outlet and go feed the one on Gina's side. Okay, so this is it's a pretty simple operation. Again, these particular ones seem to come from the factory with the screws tightened. All right. And since I'm going to be hooking up 4 wires onto this, I'm going to go ahead and do my ground first. Okay, and I'm going to use another pigtail for my ground, because I've got 2 there and they won't fit on this particular type of switch, trying to double them up like I did on this one right here. So no big deal, no big deal. All right, so I got my piece of copper. Ba-bum, bum, bum, ba-bum, bum, bum. I'm going to go ahead and put a loop on the end of it, because this type has doesn't have a push on. Okay, so I'm going to loop that sucker around there, and then we're going to crimp it together. All right, and then we're going to tighten it down. All right, and you always want to loop in the direction that you're going, because then it has a tendency to want to you know, wrap itself around the screw instead of unwrapping itself from the screw. Okay, all right, so there's my plug, and I'm going to go ahead and hook it to my grounds, because these ones just push in, so we're good to go. Well, they push in, and then you have to tighten up the you know, the situation. Which side are you on? There we go. Okay, so we got 2 blacks and 2 whites. All right, so I'm just going to get them out of the way because they keep stabbing me, and I don't want to be stabbed anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go ahead and shorten these. They don't need to be quite so long. And again, I'm going to go ahead and you know, twist these suckers together like I did on the other side. Okay, and I turn the light switch off. Alright, so there you go. Just get that one down around a little bit. Okay, and where is it? That's the yellow one. Here's the green one, right? Yeah. Alright, so we're going to stick that on there. Oops. I don't know what I did there. I certainly. There we go. Let me get it wrapped around it one more time. Alright, there we go. If you got a jagged edge, it won't, the wire nut won't, I should have my my lineman pliers, but I'm sitting Indian style, and I just don't feel like going and getting them. Alright, that's good. Stick that on there. Remember, you just twist it until you feel a resistance, and then maybe just a little taste more. Well, I don't feel resistance yet. There we go. Alright. Now, since I'm not going to have room to get tape around there, I'm going to go ahead and tape that nut on there now. When we're done here, I'm going to go, I've got a 150 amp breaker that I'm going to be installing on my controller, my solar and wind controller, because like I said, you may not be able to hear it, but I can hear it. And what it's doing is it's cycling through, because the batteries are at full charge. Okay, And when the batteries are full charge, it doesn't need to charge them anymore. So basically, it just cycles through. So when I hear that, I can I want to go, you know, put a fan on or something like that to bring some of the battery from 100% down to something less. Okay. All right. Okay. I like that, but I think I'm going to put one more piece. That one was just a little too short for my taste. All right. There we go. Good thing about black tape is, boy, once it sticks, you know, it should sticks for good. All right, good. Now I feel better about that. All right. Get it angled up in there. Okay, like I said a few minutes ago, this particular outlet has these has the push-in kind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push them in. Oh, I think I thought I did loosen them. There's one. Remember, your brass is, let's try to get a better angle so you can see. The brass is your hot. See, it's got like this little plate in there, and when you angle it down, then it falls down, and you can get your wire in there. Have to open it up a little bit more. Nope, that's open all the way. It just needs to fall down. There we go. So that it can get behind it. I can't see the hole. Put some hair around it. Where the hell's the hole? There it is. All right. Get that one in. Try it a different way. Okay. I can't see the holes because I'm on this side. Whew. I think I have that thing all the way. Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe I thought I did. There we go. That's what it was. I didn't have it loose enough. So there we go. The wire was just, there you go. Okay. Now I'm gonna try to hold them. You see, I've got my insulation going right to the box. You don't want to push the insulation in because if your connection has insulation, it's not gonna. Okay. That's tight as fish booty right there, and that's waterproof. All right, so we're good to go. Now we're gonna wrap that sucker. Oh, forgive me. Forgive me. This particular outlet, even on the other side that I've already wired, I didn't put black tape around it, and I'll tell you why. Because this is a USB, I'm assuming that it creates some sort of heat or something. And this particular device looks like these are wanting to allow heat to get out. So if I covered those with black tape, I may be defeating the purpose. I read the little pamphlet. It doesn't say shit about it, but there's a reason that there's slots inside of here. Must have something to do with releasing heat or something. So I'm not, but in this box, there is no other, wires that could come loose. Well, I can't say that there's not any, because these are wires, but I'm going to just let this one I'm not going to wrap this one, in other words. Okay. So we got all our connections. Everything looks good. Now we're going to shove that sucker in the box. Now this one does fit pretty snug. It's the same height as the box and everything. Okay, and it's got a real stupid design on the ground nut, which is right there. I gotta get the ground nut in. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. It probably could come over just a tad, but let me go ahead and get my let me get my nuts in. Let me get my screws out of the package. With these plastic boxes, you want to make sure that you finger start, anything, or with a screwdriver, never with the screw gun, because they will strip out on you, and then you'll be pissed off because you have an outlet that won't stay in the hole. Then you got to change the box and everything. So even when I use the screw gun to drive those in, I only go maybe a third speed, and then I stop when I get to where I can feel about another couple turns or something, and then I'm just going to finish it off with the screw drive bore. Okay, there you go. All right, that feels tight as fish booty right there. And again, we want to try to center them as best we can. Okay. All right. Now this one, I'm going to snug in a little bit more. The design of these is kind of, I don't really know that I like them that much, because it causes the plate to, to stick out just a little bit, and that doesn't work for me, but there's nothing I can do about it, so I didn't make the damn things. All right. Heck, you might as well watch me put the plates on. Well, I'm not going to make you watch me put the plates, but what I am going to do is I'm going to at least test fit them, because if I have to make some adjustments, to the location, just, because these boxes, these boxes here, wow, that looks nice. I think this one right there, I am gonna, well, there ain't shit I can do about it. Okay, I'm just gonna stick it on there. All right, and I've got another one. And then we're gonna go turn us on some power. And you know what? I might even leave, I was gonna say I might leave the camera on, but oh shit, I opened up. Oh no, that's the right one. Okay, this one's a switch. Oh, look at that. That's nice. That's real nice. It's real crooked. Oh, I see. I'll see what the problem is. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Loosen this one. Alright, that's what. Okay. Loosen this one here. This one here too. Okay. Huh. I may have to. Oh man, I was sitting Indian style. Now my leg is gone to sleep. This is the kind of stuff that I obsess over sometimes. And that's the things, if they're supposed to be straight, then make them straight. Okay? If they're not supposed to be straight, then don't make them straight. But if they're supposed to be straight, then make them straight. That probably didn't make any sense, but didn't take but a second. Okay. That'll work. That'll work. That'll work. This is right here. Alright. This is what I was talking about earlier. If you stick them in the middle, you pretty much might be right on the money. Alright. I like that. Okay. Alright. I'm going to leave the switch off. I'm not going to put the screws in. Let me shut this off. Okay. Mama made lunch, so I had to stop and eat some lunch. I don't know if you can see that or not. See the lights. These tamper-resistant. These tamper-resistant plugs. There we go. Alright, before I run you through everything, let me go ahead and put these switch plate covers on. It sure helps to be able to see when you're doing this stuff. Okay. Let me take this thing off the... All right. Well, there you have it. Let me turn off the lights because there's a couple of indicators. Got the switch. Now watch the. This is the circuit tester. Boom. All right. So I basically just killed all the power. And if you look at the GFI, it's indicating that it's off. When I turn the switch back on, then the green light comes back on. Okay? Alright. This tester right here indicates, you know, if there's any issues. And if you look right up there, everything is correct. So I can pop it around to all the different plugs, and they're all wired perfect. I can't even read that word on there myself. What does that say? Correct. Okay. So let's go over here and we'll go over here and test this side. Man, I'm all jammed up here. Okay. And that indicates correct. I've actually got my iPhone plugged into the to that, or I can plug it into that. Okay. Pretty cool. All right. Let me shut the light off on this one also. Okay. I want you to look at the see the little green indicator right there? That means that there's power coming to that charging station right there. All right. And I think I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put a switch over here to be able to turn that off. Okay. Because that little LED is using a minuscule amount of power, but it would always be on as long as there's batteries, and we don't want that. Okay. Same thing over here. This indicates that that charging station there is live. Okay, it's 12 volt. Those USB ports right there are hooked into the 110, even though they're 12 volt, probably more like 5 volt. But that's all being handled through the 110. Okay. Now I mentioned the light on the GFI breaker. Now I have my tester all the way over here on Gina's side, and this particular tester has a GFI test. So watch what happens. I'm going to test it from over there. Bam. Okay. So it functioned as it's supposed to. Okay. And again, I could kill everything right there. Now, one thing I don't like also is this lighted switch. It's not a pilot light, it's a night light, okay? Which means that when it's off is when the light comes on to let you know that it's off. See? Watch when I turn it on. Then you see the green light. Okay, on, off. I want to switch that when it's in the on position is when it lights up. Now I may have to go to a different kind of a switch to be able to do that, and you all have probably seen them where it's got a let me loosen this up a little bit. It's a little too tight. A little too tight for my, because it was deforming it a little bit, and I don't like that. Yeah, let's loosen that up just a bit. Same thing with the top one. There you go. Okay. It's got a switch here that's left and right, and then it's got a red light here. And when you turn it off, the light goes off. When you turn it on, the light goes on. Because remember, this power, when we're on batteries, is what is running these. And they also run on shore power too when we're hooked up to shore power. But when we're not hooked up to shore power, this is running off the batteries. So even though I have all the 110 shut off in the cabinet, I'm still wasting power with this stupid night light. So this particular lighted switch is not what I want. I'll get a different one to replace it soon. Okay. All right. Let's see. What else can I tell you? That's about all I did today so far. It's around 1 o'clock, and gotta start cleaning up. Get all my shit out of here, all my electrical stuff. So, I may or may not get to my cabinet lights until I get back, or I may do them tomorrow, but who knows. But everything in here is all tightened up, you know. All the wires are secured. All the ends are taped. Just got a vacuum in there a little bit. That's my trash bucket. Same thing over here. All the wires are all tightened up. And remember, there's a panel that I'm going to put across here, so you won't even see those wires. So I don't know. I may go ahead and install that light up there. I think I will. I mean, I've got the wires right there. I just have to run a switch to it, and no big deal. I bought some double pole switches, but I didn't buy the cases for them. So I've got a couple, because what I wanted to be able to do is have a switch on this side. So if Gina wants, if we're on this side trying to get something, then we have a switch here that'll turn on the light. If we're on that side, we want to be able to turn the light on, so in other words, be able to turn the light on from either side. So I may wait on that light until I get the proper switches. No big deal. It's not the end of the world. Okay. All right, let me clean up here and I'll be back. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video and start another one maybe for later on, depending on what else I do. There it is. Queen size bed. All the lights are on. Got all the power hooked up. Of course, the air conditioner. TV wall. The bottom of the bed base gets a trim piece all the way around the the bottom and the top that'll stick up about, it'll stick up to about right there. It's a 4-inch piece that I'm going to pad. I'm gonna get some material and some stuff in, or whatever, some foam, and I'm gonna pad it, staple it, and then there'll be one along this edge, one along that edge, and along that edge. Just keeps your knees, from hitting it. I mean, it's not, there's actually plenty of room there, but I just think it'd be nicer, and okay. Nice look at the bathroom, the stove and the microwave, and of course the refrigerator. And kitchen. You know, the vanity, my dirty shirt on it. I've got a that piece of granite right there goes on top of here, but I want to put a piece of trim in there first. I'll do that today, maybe, or tomorrow. And then there's our party deck in our living room area. That party deck works great. I'm going to got some ideas for the back there as far as how I'm going to close that in, you know, for the seasons and such. There she goes. There she is. Alright, let me cut this video off because it's going to get pretty long. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later. I'm not done for the day, but I'm done for now.